Welcome to the Interrogation True Crime Stories podcast. All the stories told on this show are either fabricated, alleged, or didn't happen at all and shouldn't be used in the court of law. We hope. Yo, what's up everybody? So, little transparency here. Apologies for missing an episode last week and being a little late on this one. This one drops tomorrow, so I'm not actually late. Anyway, it's been a hectic couple of weeks. It's been a lot of good stuff, don't get me wrong. But I was up in the at Winter Park for the Winter Park Comedy Festival. Shout out to Christine Tomlinson for putting that on. And that was the first festival that we did Interrogation True Crime Stories, the live version, at a festival. So that was really exciting. The show couldn't have gone a whole lot better. The whole festival itself was just like really fun. So then I got back from that on Sunday, and then I had a work trip in Charlotte Monday, Tuesday, and then we went camping in Telluride Thursday through Sunday. So I had episodes ready. Just being totally honest, I just forgot or just didn't even really have time. It wasn't even a matter of forgetting. And then by the time we were ready to go on Thursday, it was just too late. I didn't bring my computer. So apologies for not releasing an episode last week. I know consistency is kind of the key with these things, but hey, I'm human. We slip up from time to time, and I really appreciate everybody listening. This show has been a lot of fun to make. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you can, share it, like, review, subscribe. You already do that stuff, yada, yada. And it means a lot, putting together a podcast that comes out every single week is a lot of work, and I'm happy to do it. And I'm tinkering with some ideas for how to change the show format so that it's not always so dependent on guests. Because as you guys will notice, like I do Zoom recordings with comics. I do stuff that in my studio, quote unquote, my house. And I like doing the live shows. Well, not live, but in-person ones better. I think the audio is just better. You can bounce back and forth with people a little bit more. But I'm trying to figure out a format where I can just do solo episodes so that I'm not so dependent on guests. And I'm thinking, do some of the dumb crimes I find in the news, share some of my stories based on some of those, maybe cover some things about the criminal justice system that I think are quirky or weird or stupid. But just so that way, I can always put episodes out consistently, and that way you guys have something to listen to. And also, we get some of the craziest text messages from people during our live shows, and I don't think I do enough of that on here. I do occasionally, so I think maybe just utilize those. But if anybody has any ideas, please shoot me a message. I'm all ears. The key here is I want you guys to enjoy the show, so if you have any input on things that I could do to improve or ways to maybe make a solo format successful or fun, please let me know. I'm happy to. So a couple things. When this episode comes out, I'm going to be going up to Oregon for like the next week and a half. I'll be doing shows in Portland, the 15th through 17th, 18th basically. And then I'm going to Bend, Oregon to do some mountain biking with my brother and some friends. And then we'll be doing a live version of Interrogation at Craft Kitchen and Brewery in Bend on that following Friday, which is the 23rd, I believe. Yeah, and then I'll be headlining Craft Kitchen and Brewery on the 24th. So you can find out more information for all that stuff at my website, CoreyDavid.com. Please tell people about the live show if you know anybody in the Bend or Redmond area. I just love that place. It's been really good to me. And the last time we did the show there, like December, I think, it was a huge hit. Again, couldn't have asked for a whole lot more. That's why I love the show. I believe in it. And I need you guys to support so that way we can keep it going. And with that being said, I think some of you have probably heard that we're going to be filming the live show on August 19th down at the Secret Group in Houston, Texas. We're going to have 2 shows, a 7 and a 9. And we have a full production team coming. We have some really great comics booked for it. And the idea behind it is I want to release it as a web series and see how it does. And if it's successful, put it out as a regular show. Kind of like This Is Not Happening, or just have something that looks really polished and nice that I can pitch to networks or streaming services to kind of take this thing to the next level. So I will be starting a GoFundMe for that because production costs are going to be, a couple thousand. I'm trying to pay everybody that's on the show really well because we'll be utilizing their content online, and I'm traveling down there. So yeah, I mean, I can cover it, but at the same time, if people, I know people believe in the show and they want to see it succeed. So I'll be setting up that GoFundMe. So keep an eye out for that. I'll make an announcement when it's actually live. But anything helps, just kind of mitigate some of the costs to see if we can take this thing bigger than what it is right now. So that's enough of my spiel. It's long enough. But love you guys. Thanks for being supportive and listening to the show. Like I said, share it if you can, and enjoy the episode. All right, welcome to the Interrogation True Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, Corey David, and today we have a special guest from a dungeon in Wichita, Kansas, Reena Calm, everybody.
Hello.
Dude, what is your life? I mean, I never know where you are. You pop up in Colorado randomly as hell. You're like, but you come a decent amount. Like, I feel like you make your way through here, I don't know, a couple times a year.
Yeah, definitely at least a couple times a year. I try to always spend more time there, and then like something weird always happens that turns it into some kind of like speed dating meetup with everybody I've ever met in Colorado. Yeah, this last one I like breezed through because I had to rush from Boise, which is just a quick 14 hours down the street.
Yeah, no biggie.
To get to Comedy Works for Doug Benson's podcast. And I'm like, worth it. You know what I mean? Like,
of course. Yeah. How'd that come up? Do you know Doug from being in LA or just some other place?
I actually met him in Chicago the first time, and I've done his podcast a few times now. This is only the second time I've done it live because we did it like over Zoom a couple of times, once during COVID. And I don't know, it's tough to really be sure what the last few years was, but I met him before COVID. And he's great, and I do a lot of puns, so I feel like I'm like perfect for his audience. They love puns and wordplay. So anyway, yeah, I've gotten to open for him. He's great. I rushed to get there for that because I've never really gotten to perform at Comedy Works, but look at me now, baby.
Got that swag. Hell yeah, dude. Welcome to the team.
Honestly, I was like hanging out with a local favorite, Sam Sisson. He had a gig in Buena Vista, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
It's Buena, not Buena, for some reason. It's spelled Buena.
Yeah, but this is also one of those states where things are phonetically spelled one way that make a ton of sense, and then people for no apparent reason just decided to change it. So I think you're okay to saying whatever you want.
I don't think it's one of those states. I think it's one of these countries where we whitewash stuff and are like, that's not culturally anybody. Ours.
You're right.
Family in Texas lived off of Guadalupe Street. That's why you had to say Guadalupe. Like, yeah, let's get dumb on purpose.
It's basically like my mom does that all the time. Like she calls things like Chicka-flicka, like she wants to go eat there.
I don't know if that's offensive to anyone except for gay people and who's that? Raka Waka?
The Waka Waka guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Well, she's
the bear motherfucker.
I mean, she's Mormon. I think it's kind of built in. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's weird. But so what's really funny about Buena Vista is that they've already had like an upset there of like people being like, that's not how you say it. It's Buena Vista and like all this stuff. And so what they've substituted with it is they have signs that say BV everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I heart BV, and like I don't know if you know, but anybody who's listening, I don't know if you know, you know, BV stands for bacterial vaginosis.
No, I didn't know that. Don't act like that's common knowledge. I would have said butt vagina.
Why not?
I would have said butt vagina is what I would have come up with if you were going to make me guess.
You thought we were going to talk about comedy dungeons. And
no.
Whatever, but I'm here to advocate for knowledge about BV, bacterial vaginosis, because it's not an STD, but you can get it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, what is it?
Right?
What is
Right.
it? Tell me. We could turn this
It's
into a
like
health podcast.
you're gonna think it's a yeast infection. You're gonna be like, oh no, I got a yeast infection. And then you're like, oh, I'm so dirty, right? Or whatever, you know?
Hmm.
And it actually happens when two people, if you have sex with somebody and just like your physical chemistry doesn't mix.
Okay.
So yeah, they're dirty, actually. Like,
Although
or,
I I am
okay.
gonna I am gonna say that vaginosis sounds like a magic trick you do with your pussy. Like that does
Right, right.
it does
An
sound that way.
itchy magic trick.
No,
Uh,
it's not good though. You're like, oh, that's a surprise. Look what's behind the curtain. Oh, it's a venereal disease.
Well, so it's not like if you clear it up, it goes away. It's not like an STD that like sticks around, or it's not like if somebody gives you, if you get BV from having sex with some person, like you're not necessarily going to give that or get it. You're not going to want to have sex when you have it, but like anyway, it's just like two people's chemistry not mixing. It's really weird. It's just like, yeah, some people are like allergic to each other in the holes, you
Yeah,
know?
I could get that. It's probably a good red flag if you were to persist with that person. I feel like your awareness is just like not present whatsoever. You're like, listen, I get it, but I mean, if we're talking about any glare, he doesn't have a job, he gave you a disease, like what else do you need? Your bodies literally don't go together.
It happened to me for the first time, and that's how I found out about it. Never heard of it a day in my life. And then I really liked that guy, so I'm like, well, maybe it was a fluke. And so then
Just go for it anyway.
yeah, you guys aren't supposed to do it. And so, but if you think that's crazy, I know somebody who was married to somebody for 10 years and they had like that reaction to sex the whole time.
Oh, you just keep. Oh, man, that's got to be a great marriage. You're just like, I can't give it up. I know it hurts, and I know it's gonna hurt me in the long run, but I'm just here for it.
Yeah, I mean, they're divorced now, and that's great. But like, yeah, I mean, they really stuck together through a lot.
I mean,
Of
10 years is a good run for anything.
Yeah,
It's pretty.
anyway, all these signs that say like I heart BV, hilarious. If you know, you know, and now you know. So
So you didn't get BV in BV though, correct?
no, I don't. I think I will say as a road comic, here's another thing I want to, here's my soapbox, my platform.
Get on
I'm
it.
gonna interrogate anybody watching. There's a really common misconception I feel like about being on the road because it's not as common for women. So like I feel like men have built and earned this reputation for trying to hook up with people when they're on the road doing shows, and not all men, okay, but that I think because of that, men in places I visit think that I'm there to have sex with them, and it's like I'm not taking my chances on BV with any hill jack. Like
I don't know what kind of hippie crystal magic you guys got down here that's gonna ruin my body. So stay the fuck away.
I mean, I'm just not interested. I'm exhausted. Nobody thinks that they see me in all these places. You see me pop up on social media. First of all, if I posted something on social media, like I'm not on social media anymore. I finally stopped my post. I got my post up and I got to drive
Yeah, for
or
sure.
whatever. So like that's a weird thing social media does. I'm not like ever able to be like active and like, interactive on there. And yeah, just the driving. I'm not going to post while I'm driving, or maybe on the way I might post a picture, but like it's really nobody understands how exhausted I am that like if I, especially even if it's a dungeon in Wichita, like oh my gosh, just to have a place to myself and not be in anybody's way or in anybody's schedule, like yeah, I don't want to do anything with anybody.
Yeah, and it's also that you're already so busy that like the last thing you want to do is spend more time on social media than you've allowed yourself to do, right? Like you did your
Yeah,
post, you want to be done with it. I don't even want to look at it for the next like
right.
few hours at least. I got other shit to do.
I mean, the formatting, everything, it's so tedious. Like the clips that you see online that are maybe 15 to 60 seconds or whatever. I mean, I'm particular about my subtitles, so like I do it in a tedious way. I mean, we all do, but like most of my sets that I'm taping are hour-long sets, and just to even work with that length of a video and the storage involved and the spotty Wi-Fi, like you see 15-second clip online, I probably spent a week putting that there, you
I know.
know?
Yeah, it's
So
become the bane of our existence in a lot of ways, but it is, crucial. And
but be
so,
consistent, do it every day. Like,
oh
oh my
God.
God, like make there be service everywhere. And so I don't spend hour, you know what I mean? Like how is that? the reality we've ended up in.
Oh,
Like,
you mean life hasn't been accommodating and easy for people trying to carve their own path in entertainment? Wow, who would have thought, Rena?
I mean, for anything, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of backward stuff. Everybody's supposed to be. I just feel like my gripe with it, like the hustle culture of needing to post online and maintain this absurd stuff, just like anybody's hustle culture. And I really feel like everybody's so, it's just our version of it. And everybody's so warped into thinking they're not doing enough or programmed into thinking they need to be doing more and be more productive and check more boxes off. Like, we're also focused on our own stuff that like traveling's given me that perspective at least that I can see everybody kind of just like struggling to feel like they're not doing enough and keep up. We're all doing too much.
Yeah.
Out
Yeah, I
there
mean,
giving each other BV and not even knowing about it. Like, come on.
well, like you mentioned, I mean, I think you're on the road more than most people, and particularly for female comics, right? So, what kind of prompted that, and how long have you really been doing that?
It's tough to even answer that question anymore because of COVID, but like I really started going on the road in like 2015, 16 a lot. And then really in 2016, like after the election, I had this like motivation of like, I'm gonna make people laugh about the same stuff. And even if they disagree, that'll fix it. And it, like I can't even keep a relationship with everybody in my family. So it's like what a
I feel
uh
like it is easier to do with people you just meet than people that you've known your entire life. I will say that managing family relationships can be pretty difficult.
Yeah, I mean, these last few years kind of showed us a lot of each other that I think, like, not just the political opinions of what was going on throughout, like, COVID, but also just like having all that downtime to be like, I think everybody kind of went through this phase of like, man, what was I into? Like everybody like checked back in with their high school self because you like reconnect with this version of yourself that's like stuck in a room. Oh God, it's happening. We're like,
Just getting it.
you know, and like when you couldn't go anywhere, that was when you were a teenager. So I feel like everybody kind of had this like resurgence of like stuff they were into when they were younger and along with that some like undiscussed trauma that you're like peeking back at with new eyes and like I think a lot of people experienced kind of like doing deeper dives into some underlying issues in their worlds and family stuff is included.
Yeah.
So
No, I would
yeah.
agree with that. I mean, it forced, I know that for me personally, it didn't force me to reevaluate, but you had nothing but time on your hands, right? So it's like, it just kind of made me think about what are the things that are important to me. And a lot of that was, it was a lot of comedy, and that's not going away. Like, I still love it a ton. But then I'm like, I should be spending more time with friends. I should be doing other things that I enjoy creatively instead of just going to a mic every night or going to two mics a night when it was really more about socializing than it was about actually getting better at comedy and biking more and making time to go snowboarding, planning other trips, and kind of figuring out like what my ceiling was even in Denver, where I think Denver's a great place. You can do a lot here comedy wise, but the ceiling was never just being here. Doesn't mean you have to move, but it meant, okay, if I really want this to become something, I really got to like make it happen myself. And whether that's social media or touring a lot, going to other places and building a following that way, it just had to happen. I think it's easy, especially in bigger scenes, bigger cities, to kind of get trapped because it all seems so great. And you're like, why would I ever want to leave? I've got everything I need right here. But if you really want to see how far this can go, then you
I just
need
don't
to,
think I think that's a really common misconception is that anybody feels that way.
yeah,
Nobody, everybody in every city I go to, whether it's LA or Denver or Morgantown, West Virginia, honestly, I feel like people in smaller cities might have a little bit more balance and peace about it, but like especially in New York and LA, I mean, people are, if anything, like I mean, yeah, there's so much more opportunity, and that's where you want to end up, but it never feels like you're doing enough. It doesn't matter where you are. Everybody's stressed about feeling like they're not doing enough. So, like in Denver, it looks like, oh, I would be feeling not that way if I lived in one of those two major cities. But when you're in those major cities, it's so easy to feel just like swallowed up by how much is going on
yeah,
and feel like it's harder to build anything for yourself because it's such a huge place,
Hmm.
you know. So I think that that's a dangerous mindset to hold on to, not because just because it idealizes things that like aren't quite that way, you know, and it
Sure.
also makes you look at Denver in a certain light. And honestly, there's so much you can do in Denver. There's so much you can do anywhere with the internet now that like to pay the price of living in New York or LA feels a little bit like, okay, well, I didn't come from money, so that seems fucking crazy to me,
Yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
Uh,
I agree.
and also, when you said you love comedy, do you love it enough to live in this dungeon?
Oh yeah, bro. I just sent out a bat signal on Facebook asking if I knew anybody
Yeah.
that could give me a guest room in Portland, you know? Like, yeah, I'm still there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you asked how long I've been doing it, and that's the thing. Like, social media, I've been promoting myself nonstop for 13 years on social media. So, yeah, the burnout from that, it's never going to go away. But I feel like there's some people that are, I don't know. I don't think anybody's been churning it out online longer as I started when it started. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
You know, I feel like that wears on you after a certain amount of time because it changes. You have to keep up with it. And like, it's just exhausting to be doing it sustained for so long. And being a house guest is sure charming, and I appreciate like with the depth of myself, like anybody that's like from the bottom of my BV to everybody I've ever met. I like so appreciate all the hospitality I've been shown, and it's so wonderful to get to see people, but like I'm hitting this point of ugly burnout where like I actually don't want to make plans with every single person I've ever met in every town I go to all the time. Nobody wants to be that social. Nobody wants to make as many plans or drive to as many places. And like people see you're in town and they're like, hey, come by. And it's like, that's more planning, more hours in the car, less
Hmm.
time with my social media. Like, it's like,
Hmm.
there time with myself. Like I don't get time with myself unless I'm in a dungeon like this. If I'm a house guest, I get to see people, but I'm present with them. And so I'm not tending to my everyday needs. So yeah, it's fun and it's eh, everything in moderation. Like I've been a house guest throughout the whole pandemic. The pandemic made me freaking homeless because of this lifestyle and family stuff being not ideal.
Hmm.
So the only way out is through. And so I'll say like I have somehow this year, like knowing that I have to keep doing this in order to maintain everything I've built and also make enough money to live somewhere and stop doing this. Um, like the only way out is through. So somehow, luckily, this year I've been able to find a compartmentalization where I can separate the show from the business
Hmm.
or I was getting bitter about comedy. I was having like a bad time doing it the last half of last year, and the business part of it is still maddening and overwhelming and all consuming. But like keeping the show part sacred and separate and fun and like understanding my role and like the whole point of doing this is to make other people have fun and show them a good night. Like no matter what I'm going through, which is too much, like I'm gonna make those people have a good time and I'll have fun doing that. And so like I mean like right now I'm like having a horrible week with like my physical health because I'm a woman. And it doesn't matter. Like I'm still gonna like show them a good time.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'll sleep too late and forget what day it is and forget I have a podcast scheduled that I picked the time for. I'll forget stuff. I'm a mess.
Yeah.
But like those
Maybe
people
not.
get a good show.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. And it's hard because it is so all consuming. It's not just like managing your social media, it's setting up your travel, it's booking certain dates together so they make more sense. And it's not just, there's so much more than just what you're doing on stage. And I think it's really easy to forget how much fun you have doing that and also what it serves for other people, right?
Yeah, and like people like my message or whatever like where I'm at right now is that it's taking so much out of me just to do that, which is important to me and also like I'm trying to be always good at it and show people a good time like this is a podcast, so I'm talking about myself, so this is fine, not what I mean. But like,
Mhm.
like it's wild to me how much people want of my time off stage. It's like people will straight up, people I don't even know will message me and be like, "Hey, do you want to go for a hike or something?" And it's like, "Yeah, but not with you." And
Yeah.
no, like, and I don't know you. And also, like, I can't come to the show. Like, okay, well then now I'm wasting more. Like, you're not even going to come to the show. I don't know. Like, oh my God. Like, people feel so entitled to my time because I'm in their area. Nobody thinks about how much more time I have to spend on like keeping myself sane and,
Hmm.
healthy and all that stuff. So, yeah, come to the show. I can't wait to see you at the show. Otherwise, I'm not here.
Yeah. Otherwise, leave me the fuck alone. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm glad I could suck up some of your time to talk about some dumb crimes that I found on the internet. So if you want to do some of that, we can goof around a little bit.
Yeah, we're
And
kicking off that day real good.
sick. Hey
Well,
man. Hey, it's all right. We're just talking shop, baby. All right. So I'm gonna read the headline, and then you tell me your first general impression
comedy
about it.
works.
Okay.
Okay,
Does we
sorry.
work for it, baby? Now what? We've been holding on to that one since you got that sweatshirt. I could tell. Nice. Just been waiting to drop that in.
Lordy, Lordy, look who's 40. Me in like 2 weeks. Okay,
Hell
I'm
yeah,
ready.
dude. All
Okay.
right. So, a Florida man worried about vampires burns down his entire house. Any first thoughts?
That sucks.
Blows, right? Also, my first immediate impression, I'm like, that's not even how you get rid of vampires, is it?
No, that's what's so confusing about it. I feel like, okay, the headline was Florida man burns down his house because he's scared of vampires.
Mm-hmm.
I think what it meant to say was meth cooker made up a lie.
Highly likely.
I don't think. I think maybe he was a little high on his own supply because if you really do fear vampires, maybe he was like roasting garlic. I don't know, but like make everything a mirror. There's so many ways you could do that. But if your mirrors need to be like used for cutting up lines of some, I don't know. Like it just seems like
Isn't it?
absolutely something a man on drugs said to
Well,
avoid
yeah,
saying
while he was blowing up his own meth lab. Yeah, because I'm trying to see. I feel like a wooden spike is the move, or sunlight, or like you said, a mirror. It's just if you've. I mean, there's enough vampire culture out there these days between TV and movies and whatever. Like this guy hasn't watched one Twilight. Seriously, even I have. Okay.
I have seen enough of Twilights to know that like that's like there's vampires have been around forever. That's nobody's fires are for Frankenstein monsters.
Where
Um
is it? Werewolf? No, werewolf. Silver bullet. Right? Isn't that it?
yeah, I think but it's like Frankenstein monsters hate fire and maybe other things, but never has it been vampires. I
Well,
feel like a fire wouldn't even kill a vampire. Their skin they're already dead and they're cold.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what they do say is that vampires love meth. So he was getting into his stash.
I just love that, like, whatever that house fire like burnt up was so strong that even like the reporters or police were like, "There's a lot of vampires we got to be careful of." I get it, like
Yeah.
I believe you, man.
Let this be a public health safety concern. Okay, there's vampires in Daytona Beach, and they're like, oh, there's actually a guy still in the fire, but he seems fine. He seems like he's doing okay.
Yeah, seems chill. Uh, oh, maybe there was a fire so that there would be smoke because he wanted a vampire to go to sleep, and he knows that a vampire only goes to sleep if they're coughing.
Yes. Hell yeah, dude. That's why we're here, Reena. We're looking for gems.
This is why I didn't go to real college.
Yeah. What if the vampire was like his lab assistant in his meth lab? So he's like, it was the vampire's fault. That's the reason the house burnt down. It's just this guy doesn't know how to mix his chemicals. He's no Walter White.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I really think that we're damaging the investigation by even listening to the vampire part of it. I feel like the house fire spoke for itself. And yeah, if people, I think that you know who's really sucking the blood life out of um, our society are these is drugs. Uh,
It's just a metaphor. The whole thing's just a metaphor.
yeah, it is weird to me though, and that's like this is not a joke, but it's weird how like it doesn't make sense how places that are like super conservative in their politics, kind of like Florida doesn't. It's so weird because it's like, yeah, there's no mask enforcement, no health code, but like also don't say gay. And
Hmm.
like all this stuff, it's like, I don't understand how you try to enforce like keeping it together in this bubble so much while it's literally like you're known for a Florida man or, you know, like there's maybe that's why, like, because there's like crazy men who believe in vampires and like riding alligators that they're like, hey, nobody's gay. I
there's
don't like
literally
out here.
there's literally iguanas falling from trees in the middle of the night. Have you heard about that?
No, but the one of the things I noticed in Florida that was like weird to me, I've only actually been there, I think twice for comedy, is like there's a increase you'll see as soon as you get to Florida of the number of just like straggly looking dudes walking on the side of the road. No sidewalk, just like in a ditch by the highway or like they all look the same. Like I swear there was one that had like a body double. Like I don't know. That guy probably went and made meth and burnt a house down and called it vampires, is all I'm saying.
Well, I get that. I feel like you've seen this. You see the same guy like 10 different times throughout the state. Like he just reappears like a vampire, potentially.
Yeah.
And of all the people that could benefit from some sprucing up with maybe a bit of drag, it's probably those guys. Throw a nice wig on, bro. Do some makeup, Just make yourself look fabulous.
I wouldn't think that I don't think that they're the my I don't think they're worthy.
No, probably not. Not so much to feel so powerful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I feel like a vampire would actually like it would be like okay, if they brought in a pack of vampires would be the closest thing that Florida got to Queer Eye, but it would be Dead Eye for the life pro-life guy. It's like all these vampires, their vampires are known for being pretty fabulous, you know,
Agreed.
not a ton of grimy vampires. They all
No.
have like mansions and
Yeah.
have eternal youth.
Yeah. Very well
So
manicured. They know how to sing.
yeah, I feel like Florida's vibe is way more like bath salts, zombie eat your face than
Yeah.
vampires.
Then
So if a guy in like France was like, I'm afraid of a vampire, so I burnt down my chateau. Okay, yeah, it's a different story. I believe him, you
yeah,
know?
agreed. Yeah, it seems more Swamp Thing than Dracula. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Man arrested for airdropping dick pics to strangers. So I don't think, not appropriate, first and foremost, but if you're going to leave your airdrop on, you're susceptible to damage.
Well, I don't have an iPhone, so y'all are screwed. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
That's why. You don't know
yeah,
what's gonna plop in.
yeah.
I
Literally flop in. Also, it's like I'm with you. I have a dumb droid. I have a droid. People make fun of me for it all the time, but at least I'm not susceptible to random dick pics from somebody that's like 20 feet away from me. Then you got to start guessing all of a sudden. You're like, who the hell? Because is it somebody that's here? Do they just have these stockpiled on their phone? It's a big guessing game.
yeah, first of all, you usually know.
You know, could tell.
Yeah. Like I feel like you would know which creep did that, or like just from the picture itself, you'd be able to see. I really love too that like it's like it makes sense, but it's also like the airdropping thing is the only way to actually like get them to land because if you like luckily now online if you send like on Twitter or Instagram or probably Messenger too, like if you send a picture to anybody that you don't know, it's like blocked and you have to say like, yes, I'll see it. I'll
Hmm.
see this. You can't just see a picture from a stranger. And it's usually, you know, 99% of the time it has not been a dick.
but in but the thing is, you did accept this junk mail.
Right, right. But the airdrop thing feels really messed up because it just happened, right? And then it's like on your phone, not even like in some app. Ugh. Take it in
After
the hand is what I'm saying.
A-
Like,
After looking through the article a little bit, it looks like this guy, the person that was accused, was actually applying to an apartment. He was trying to fill out an application for an apartment complex and then started sending the pictures to other people in the complex. Do you think that was part of the application process? Just to be like, well, do you guys not want this here?
he was running a campaign.
Yeah, vote for me for mayor of Cumtown.
Oh, gross.
Gross.
Wow. There's so much there that's like messed up
Mm-hmm.
about everything. Like he really thought that would, I mean, I'm sure maybe it's worked for him in the past. Maybe his prior homeowners association was like, hey, everybody just send your dick pics and people will choose based on that or whatever, like who they want to go home with. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I think
these applications are really close, so we're gonna go to Plan B.
I'm so grossed out by like the arrogance of that. Like, cause I'm not afraid of a dick pic if like I've done some exchanges in my day,
Sure,
you know.
tit for tat.
Not an invitation. Yeah, tit for tat, tit for that. That's what I say.
That's
And
my
I've
motto.
gotten some rough ones, man.
Yeah.
Wow. People that you're like, you should learn Photoshop or
Are we talking bad grooming or are we talking just not impressive?
all of it. Terrible lighting. I don't know. I feel like if you don't even, I don't know, maybe if you're talking about people you might run into in the hallways or something, the vaginal hallways, I feel like, yeah, maybe give an honest representation of yourself. But if you're just firing off like bait,
Oh gosh. Yeah.
like Google better dicks. Cause
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it's like taking a picture of a sunset and posting it on Instagram. It's like this isn't even actually the sunset that's in front of me right now. I just googled one, but it looks better than what I'm looking at right now. So,
yeah, I don't know. I'm grossed out by like the idea of somebody. I didn't realize it was their homeowners, this like the new apartment building. Like that adds a whole other. This is not in Florida. This is,
Oklahoma, so close. We're getting there.
oh yeah. No, that actually tracks. That makes sense. There's oh my God. Men have not figured out how to process feelings and emotions there, but they're getting there because when I was just in Oklahoma, I saw a billboard that was like cowboys cry too.
Oh, nice little ad campaign for depression, huh?
It was about like getting in therapy. Even if you're a cowboy, you can cry. And just
Mm-hmm.
like, so yeah, they're getting there.
Remember that time you lost your herd? Remember how sad that made you? Now, just remember, you can feel that way all the time and it's perfectly acceptable, even if you want to get emotional about it.
It's okay if you fucked a sheep or two. Okay, so
Don't cling on to the past or that sheep too hard.
I feel like too, like if you're sending dick pics and I don't know, like something about how I didn't get the full story of this. I just read the headline. So it's like if you're just sending the top of it, is that like just sending somebody the headlines?
And the rest of the shaft in five.
Yeah, somebody did that once to me. They tried to break it up into two pictures to try to make
To try to make you do some guesswork on the length.
they tried to make it look bigger, and it was such an obvious like display of how small it was. You know
Well,
what I mean?
especially if they send you like the tip and then maybe like a trunk of an oak tree and then the rest of it.
Beer can.
Three separate pictures.
No, super unflattering. But you
I
know
believe
what?
it.
That was a bad time in my life. I
Hmm.
met somebody in chat roulette and I sent some pictures that were really bad that day too. So I mean just like the kind of bad where you're like, okay, here it is, but I'm not turning a light on in this room. And
Hmm.
like anyway, things that was bad.
Hey.
So we deserved each other's bad. With consent. I met that was the whole point of the exchange. Like I said, I've been promoting myself online since it came out. I've tried everything.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, come to the show. Yeah, just going on chat roulette to get people to come to the gig.
We did that, my friends. We had a sign that said "Want to see a cooler circus," and we all went on roulette, and it was mostly dudes jerking off, but like every now and then somebody would be like, "Yeah," and we would put on a show for them.
Oh, that's
Like,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah, like I can't be denied, okay?
we got denied by a lot of dudes who were trying to jerk off, but
Yeah, I don't care how many dicks I got to backhand to get in my way, but I'm going to make it, baby.
I would be so uncomfortable if that happened in my apartment building. And just like, I've also like heard about there's something insidious to that beyond the dick pic, because like we've all seen a bad dick pic here and there. Like the intention behind it is what's creepy in that scenario, because
Yeah.
he's gonna run into you in the halls. And also like the airdropping thing adds this level of insidiousness where you feel unsafe like electronically.
Mhm.
You know, I knew about a guy that was like stalking his ex and like messing with her Bluetooth scenario from outside the house. And
Oh
like,
god.
yeah, just anything like that, I don't think is okay.
Yeah, that's next level fuckery because now you're just playing mind games with the other people. God.
Yeah, that's what's offensive now. Like, that's where the evolution has happened. Where like a dick, okay, whatever. I'm numb. Okay, you're not gonna
Mhm.
hit me with a dick. Now, a dick doing something weird, I might be like, I have a whole joke I'm doing right now about weird stuff with dicks online, and it's like the dicks aren't even the weird part. Anyway, that come see me live. But
Wichita, baby.
yeah, but yeah, the I'm so afraid of that now, like the electronical warfare and like AI and just anything taking control of my machines is a big no thank you to me. Not
Uh,
as big as dick though, am I
yeah.
right? Okay.
Ayo, bum. Sing. All right, that'll do it for our dumb crimes of the week. So I know, I know I told you about telling a story about a crime, committed, witnessed, something where the police were involved. So I'm curious to see what you have for us today.
Well, uh I will advise everybody to check out my album, Calmity, because it'd be a crime not to.
Heyo, nice, got it. Put that plug in there. Buy that album. Check it out.
Uh,
Well, while you're doing that, where can people find it?
Well, that's it's on Spotify, iTunes. There's a link to everything on my social media stuff. So if you find me at Reena Calm or of everything I do, that has all my things. But the reason I bring it up now is because I do more artfully tell a story about what happened the night that I got arrested in Oklahoma,
Oh,
actually.
well, okay. Well, you've already got a track record there, so you're not. This guy isn't the only one that's getting in trouble.
Literally, it's a track record. There's a track about it on my album. It's a track record.
Mm-hmm.
I got arrested in 2019 in Tulsa, Oklahoma for intent to operate a vehicle under the influence.
Okay.
Biggest mistake I made, if you can learn anything besides about bacterial vaginosis, I would say, aside from BV, if you learn anything from me, I would say don't ever tell the truth to the police. That's a bad idea. I didn't know.
Yeah.
But hey, turns out Vampire Florida guy, good call. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
Yeah. Make
They're
up.
like
Just
sending him into like vampire therapy. He's not going to jail for meth.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Just
don't,
make up something. Yeah. Just see what you
yeah.
can get. See what you can get away with first, and let them figure out if you actually did something wrong.
Yeah, you have the right to remain silent, but I say tell a lie.
But you're
Uh,
like, I've got a platform here, so I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna talk. I got some people's attention. Let's be cute. Let's be funny, huh?
yeah. Tell a lie. Tell the craziest lie possible. I made the mistake of being honest. I told him that I'd been smoking that night. I didn't even have weed in my car. I wasn't driving, and I have a camper now, a van, but before that I had a Prius, and I turned that into a camper as well. But before that, I would just like camp by putting like t-shirts up over my windows, and it was very not classy, but also I think it clearly showed my intention to sleep, not drive, but it doesn't matter because I admitted I had smoked weed at an open mic. I didn't even have any. Anyway, so I got strip searched, the whole 9 yards.
So
I had to
you got busted for trying to be cool. Basically, you're like, yeah, guys, I got a little high tonight. Smoke a little weed. Do you guys do it? Heard the weed's pretty good down here.
It's not, but also like I knew that my car smelled like weed.
Okay.
Somebody had just told me that. I was dating a guy that thought like Febreze was like gross. So it just stank like weed in there. And he'd be like, no, just air it out with the windows. Like you can't. You have to do
Yeah.
stuff to make sure it doesn't stink. And like um I
You've at
had a
least got to drive some laps. Like if you got to do that, like if you're gonna go
job.
windows down, you got to at least do that.
You know what does it is like if you have a bowl, if you have a glass piece, sometimes those things just reach a certain point where no amount of cleaning will unstink it, you
Mhm.
know? And so that was the deal. I had a stinky bowl in there. I didn't have smell proof anything. And I had a boyfriend that wouldn't let me clean the car. Yeah, I hated Febreze. Anyway, so I would say also like I've been in on the road for XYZ days and my weed is really starting to smell like clothes. Yeah, so I admitted to the police I had smoked pot, and I think the real offense was having out of state license plates because I had also temporary plates from Ohio while I was on my way to go get my car registered in Texas. And so, like, you should have seen them tearing my car apart. Like, when they found my Illinois plates that were expired, they were like, "We got her." And it's like, no, they're just expired. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but
anyway,
it's all a bunch of like non-serious. Your car is a collection of non-serious offenses, right? They're like, well, we can ping you for this, we can ping you for that. We got this.
well, they had nothing. They thought they found some like, oh, we found her real identity because of the other license plates, but it was just they were expired. I was just a citizen upholding the law on the road and like had
Yeah,
temporary plates because it was I was trying to stay above board.
yeah.
Anyway,
You're not on the run. You're not like on the lam and switching your plates every 100 miles.
right. And I have a real goofy car full of stuff. Anyway, I will at this point direct you to my album because everybody knows I got arrested for marijuana in Oklahoma, but not everybody knows the truth of the story,
Okay.
which is that at the time of my arrest, I was masturbating.
Yes.
Like
In
not
B.
while it happened, but like when it, like right before that.
Okay. When in BV, baby.
No, it was okay. It
Dude,
wasn't okay. I was in okay, but it wasn't okay.
bro,
And
I mean, it sounds like you were up until that point. It sounds like you were having a pleasant night. You were at a mic,
no,
hanging out with some friends, smoking some weed, get a little masturbation in. That does throw on some music in the car.
no, I did an open mic in Tulsa and I had been offered to stay at my friend's house, but I was burnt out from being around people. And also, here's something else you guys can learn about. If you're having cramps in your body, you're gonna want to turn it into like an educational rap. No, sometimes when you feel irritable when you're a lady, it's like it's not like, oh, I can't wait to go fuck myself. Oh my God, like applying pressure like helps some of the pain, or I don't know, it's like a release and it helps with that. So
Hmm.
like it's not sexual.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
but yeah, they definitely found like my vibrator and my porn and yeah, buy my album, check it out. It's
Yeah.
called American Crime Story. It's that track on the record.
Oh yeah,
And
dude. Yeah, you were just trying to get water out of a sinking canoe, but instead of a bucket, you're using a dildo and some dirty magazines.
yeah, it was an iPad blaring a threesome that they found. But
Oh, you get
yeah,
that car audio hooked up. You get that surround sound. We're living.
I have a new strategy, by the way, if you're ever worried about weed and the cops. Like during the first few months of COVID, I just had a sign up in my car ready to go, being like, I've been around a positive case of COVID because I didn't want them to make me open the windows of the weed. But my new thing, I want to try, I don't want to try it, I don't want to need to try it, but since then I've had to bring weed into a cop car on two separate occurrences because like I got a ride from the police and I'm like, well, I'm bringing my weed. So since then, I feel like dominated that dynamic. But if I ever get pulled over again, or if anything, a cop comes to my window, I just want to try going right away before I say anything, being like, it's CBD.
And just seeing if you can get away with it. Like, I just picked it up from the gas station. It's legit.
It's CBD. Anyway, try it or don't.
Oh, I'm hoping I don't run into that situation either, but if I do, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, let's not ever run into that. You know where you should go if you want to avoid police? Go to Portland. I didn't see one the whole time I was there. You know where you should not go if you want to avoid police? Fucking Wichita. Oh my God.
They're
They are
everywhere.
crawling with, yeah. Anyway,
Just looking to bust some people masturbating in their car, getting high on a moment's notice, and it'd be a great way to promote your show. Show up in the police blotter. Logan,
that's the truth. Next time you get arrested, say some crazy shit that gets your promo out in the streets, you know?
yeah, that just to make sure you don't get held or detained while the show's happening. Otherwise, you can do it over Zoom or something. But you'd be like, hey, this would be guys. Actually, this would be pretty great for me. The show's on Friday. I'm here for like 3 days before that. So if we could throw the old cuffs on, then get a get a write up in the paper.
I'm shaving a vampire at blah, Central Time live.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining the show, Reena. I know you already plugged your stuff. What are some? Where can people see you on the road coming up? I know you're in
Yeah,
Kansas right now.
well, I'm gonna be 40 in a week or whatever. And
Happy
so,
birthday.
hey, I'm doing a run of shows through the Midwest these next couple weeks. So everything's on my website, reenacalm.com. I'm going to be in Chicago, Indy, Cleveland, Dayton, Janesville, Wisconsin, and then a bunch in West Virginia. I'm excited for those. Atlanta. I really actually have to go book some stuff when we get off this call
Yeah, you're
because
gonna
I'm
be.
a little bit
Yeah,
scrambling.
you're gonna be
But
busy. Well,
yeah,
if you haven't yet, go see Rena. She is one of the funniest people you will ever see, and it's so great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for doing it. For all my upcoming tour dates, go to CoreyDavid.com. Check out the YouTube page, like, review, subscribe. If this is your first time listening, thank you very much. The show has been growing a lot over the past few weeks, and I'm super grateful for that. So for upcoming Interrogation live show dates, we're at the Winter Park Comedy Festival the first weekend in June, and we're going to be at the Omaha Comedy Festival doing the live show the first weekend in August. So I have dates and ticket info for all that stuff available on my website, fakecoreydavid.com, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. And thanks. See ya.
we got this in one take.